Faith is often used to refer to religious belief, but in a more philosophical sense, it also describes a justification for beliefs. It's a way of knowing things, or at least claiming to, and it is not necessarily limited to religion, but religion is where you're most likely to encounter faith. Faith means believing something when there isn't sufficient evidence to justify this belief, or there is evidence that contradicts this belief. And those who consider faith to be a valid way of knowing things think truth can be discovered simply by believing that something is true, and that means it's true. So it's not necessary to observe evidence and apply reasoning in order to discover truth, because just believing in something is good enough. So it shouldn't be surprising that faith has such a prominent role in religion. Indeed, many religions treat faith as a virtue, and why shouldn't they? Religion makes so many claims that are completely unsupported by evidence, or even contradicted by evidence. Why should anyone be expected to believe these claims? And religion doesn't have an actual answer to that, so they endorse the concept of faith instead. They tell us we should believe them just because it's good to believe things for no reason. Well, it's not. There is nothing productive, beneficial, or mentally healthy about clinging to a belief that is not supported by evidence. And faith is definitely not a reliable way to find truth. A Christian has faith that Jesus was the Messiah, whereas a Jew has faith that Jesus was not the Messiah. They can't both be correct. But if faith is valid, then they are both right, because both of them believe what they do, and that makes it true. Faith is clearly not valid. If someone expects you to believe them for no reason at all, they're taking you for a fool. And if you believe them anyway, well, you probably are a fool. Suppose you suffered from severe seizures that didn't respond to treatment, and the only possible cure is to remove the part of your brain that's causing problems. Would it be okay if the surgeon decided on which part of your brain to remove based on nothing at all? No, you would want them to have a reason for their decision, because it would be dangerous for them to take action based on beliefs with no actual evidence. Faith is dangerous because it allows people to believe they're right just because they believe they're right. If you think you're right, that means you are. The problem is, maybe you're actually wrong, and if you rely on faith, you might act on beliefs that are incorrect. So your actions could be wrong as well, and actions have consequences. But if you have faith, anything that contradicts what you believe can be ignored. You don't have to give it a moment's consideration because you know you're right, and that's all you need to know. Faith encourages a life of ignorance and irrational behavior, and that's the problem with religion promoting faith as a virtue. Being wrong never felt so right. If faith is a virtue, then so is gullibility, self-deception, and abandoning your capacity for reasoning. Of course, that just doesn't sound as innocuous as faith.